My father, Captain C.P. Freeman, joined White Star in the 1909 era, and was one of the crew sent to supervise the building of the sister ship Olympic and Titanic. Titanic was completed first in 1912 at Holland and Ward, and my father was one of a skeleton crew mustered to sail her from Holland and Ward down to Southampton to be fitted out. He therefore only served in the Titanic for the fitting out voyage down to Southampton as a skeleton crew, and he served, as far as I know, in a capacity of purser type captain. That is not the actual captain of the ship, but a part captain looking after passengers only. In other words, more of a purser. But regarding the Titanic, Captain Smith had on board Lord Ismay as passenger, and Lord Ismay wanted the Olympic to be a record breaker on her maiden voyage, record breaker for the Atlantic Blue Ribbon. When Captain Smith received radio reports of icebergs in the vicinity, he requested Lord Ismay to reduce speed to a crawl for safety. But Ismay wanted the record, and between the two of them, they kept up a speed, with the results that everybody knows. That is to say, collision with an iceberg, which, since the iceberg floats with 9/10 of its surface underwater, the Titanic literally ran up onto the iceberg, ripping a plating from the bow beyond the 7th collision bulkhead, which in theory would have made Titanic unsinkable. But as it was, she became literally flooded, simply because the water was pouring into the first 7 watertight compartments, which were now no longer watertight, but certainly holding air, which kept the bow from plunging straight down into the sea. The damage to a Titanic was literally beyond any repair Captain Smith could have done, either by closing watertight doors, of which he had lost the last, because there were only 7, and he had to abandon ship. I have never heard my father talk about what he knew. And Lord Esme used to come occasionally to dinner with my father at number 4 Miles Road West. I never knew, with his wife. My father's, my mother's, was a German trained cook. She was a Polish Jew, and she trained in Germany, Heidelberg, in cookery. And Lord Esme particularly liked her cooking. So she was honoured with his presence. What they talked about certainly wasn't shipping. It would be more about German cooking. There was 2 wives leading, but I don't know, I cannot tell. And Lord Esme survived the collision and lived on the front at Waterloo. And as I say, occasionally had dinner at 4 Miles. The tragedy of the Titanic couldn't turn out otherwise unless they had reduced speed. And it's a known fact that if Carpathia had not heard her wireless messages, which in those days were in their infancy, Titanic didn't maintain constant wireless watch. She did wireless watches according to international regulation, and it was pure luck that Carpathia was listening when Titanic transmitted her distress calls. That was a miracle. Only God knows how it came about. But of course, there were those lives saved by that miracle, in spite of a terrific loss eventually. What can I say about Titanic? She was a dead image of Olympic, they were sister ships. She was claimed to be unsinkable because of the 7 different watertight bulkheads starting in the bow and going past the mandatory collision bulkhead, spaced at intervals down the ship. A study of the Titanic plans would reveal exactly where each bulkhead was. But hitting an iceberg 9 tons underwater probably ripped the bottom out of the Titanic, certainly to an end further back than the 7th bulkhead, as I said before. You all know about Carpathia and the rescue. Other small crafts were involved, but I don't know any details. That's all I know about Titanic.